position. And King of Superpole, he goes 8 for 8, unbested on the clock, but now on the track. It's a 2-horse race. Clinton Seller comes into this round leading on championship points. The only man with a mathematical chance of beating him is Sir Lancelot. The first of the Black Swan Racing BMWs, 38, is going to be charging. He said, and he's been very vocal, that for the last couple of weeks, he says, I can only come to this event knowing that I have to win. But realistically, he has to win, and it has to be absolutely dismal luck coming out of this man, Clinton Seller. Seller, though, is not going to do what he did at the beginning of the season, because Seller, remember, the only crash that he did properly, and it was a real hard start to the season for Clinton Seller. He's turned that around. He knows he's not going to make any mistakes this time, and he is going to go for whole shot and try and just run away. He's not thinking about Lance. He's not thinking about Garrick Flock. He's not thinking about Brandon Good or any of the other key players out there. He's thinking about turn one, clear air, and gone. The story for Lance Isaacs, though, he had a good pre-qualifying. Then when it came to Superpole, he dropped some numbers. He had made 2 or 3 crucial mistakes on his hot Superpole lap, and that dropped him down to row number 2. So Lancelot, even though he's got a smile on his face, there is massive focus behind those Oakley glasses, and he is going to be charging. He has to take the win. There is nothing else in his mind but whole shot and get gone. He's in a good position on the grid, though. He should be able to get the sweet, wide sweeping line around turn number 1, and he's going to be mixing it up. If he can't take the win, he is going to certainly make life hard for Clinton Seller. The rest of the front row, all about Garrick Flock. Now, the wild child, we've been talking about him the whole way through the season. He was a massive threat in the latter half of the season for Superpole, because since he got the bike dialed in, I know Steve Cannon was very involved in getting that bike not as loose as it was at the beginning of the season. Once the screws have been tightened, the wild child Garrick Flock on the 64 machine has been very strong. In fact, yesterday he came 0.1 close to getting Superpole, and I think next year he is a massive threat, not just for Superpoles, but for race wins and a possible championship. He got second place in Superpole yesterday, and he is a cracker of a starter, so he is going to be throwing a thorn amongst the roses. Watch out, though, for Brandon Good. Very comfortable, very confident, likable little kid, and he's climbed the ladder nicely. A very quiet, stealthy third place coming out of Superpole yesterday. He lines up on the inside, but a little bit offset back in third place. He is on the front row. The 71 machine is going to be strong. He has found his place in national superbike racing. He is a rock-solid, constant top 3 finisher. Second row is going to be extremely busy, though. Lancelot is going to be the man to fire it up the inside. On his day, he can whole shot from the second row. And where he is, Greg, he is in an incredible position to sweep the big outside line.
Doesn't look too shabby out there. He looks pretty confident, I've got to say. And just coming in from outside, temperature has gone up ever so slightly, just give you an indication from an ambient point of view, which means track temperature would probably have risen as well. As we go to a new man to SuperGP, we've already seen him in action in the 600s. He's on an S1000RR this time, sponsored by Tarpave and Shop 74. That's Anthony Shetty. But just to give you an indication from outside information, the technical consultant, Mr. Sean Cronin, has taken the top 4 bikes, removed all their fuel, and put in control fuel to make sure that everybody is on a level playing field heading into the last round.
That's how it has to be. Great to see Anthony Shelley lining himself up there. He's right in the middle of row number 2, and we are calling him out as a rookie to this category and a big threat as well, because he can fire things off the line like nobody else. On his outside, though, and what's one of the big backstories to this round, Carl Robinson. He is lining up there. He qualified in 6th place out of Superpole. He's already wrapped up the Super M Championship. We were talking about this in the previous race, Greg, and he steps up into the big show. We were actually talking about this coming out of Pekisa. So Carl Robinson, the rookie, the fastest mustache in the West, and the number 18 is looking to really set this championship on fire, because look at the people he out-qualified, man.
Yeah, I got to say, he's certainly come in here all guns blazing, and definitely has the potential. And this time he's actually on the grid, which is quite nice to see, as opposed to him in his short jean pant. Next rider, of course, is the next row, and that is our first. That is our first of. Sorry, the second. No, I beg your pardon. It'll be the third of the BMWs. I've got to try and remember that Anthony Shelley is on a BMW. It's the third of the BMWs, and that is Brent the Black Knight Herron. Now, he didn't have a great day yesterday. He was really battling with setup. Didn't have a good super pole, but definitely has pace here. Because let's go back in history. Round 2, race 2, Brent Herron, Victor. He won race 2 here at round 2 of the Monster Energy Super GP Champions Trophy. So, Brent Herron has got what it takes to win on this track. If he's got the machinery under him right now, as opposed to the machinery he had yesterday, whatever they've tweaked, whatever they've sorted out, hopefully has gone the right way.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to be able to qualify good, but can race good. Nick van der Walt, he was on the money yesterday. He had a real good pre-qualifying time, but on his hot lap, turn number 2, super pole, outbraked himself, lost the front end of the big R1, and had to drop all the way back to 10th place. He was on lap time for a potential 7th place though. So we're seeing a real good charge coming out of the Yamahas today, and I think it's a turnaround event for the team.
No, it's really great to see. Turnaround event for the team on old machinery. We've all seen the hype around the brand new R1 worldwide. And according to the stats that have been thrown around there as the ER24 medical team head off, and that means we've got probably about 3 minutes to go, the new R1 is going to be championship material, championship winning material, I should say.
Yeah, the numbers coming out of that thing, it definitely should be able to put one over on the new BMW S1000RR. And because of the newer models, and I'm not going to hint at what they are because we all know that, but the ZX-10R coming out of Kawasaki sees very little development going forward into the 2015 season.
The reason they've gone with that particularly is they've got a machine that wins, so they don't need to do too much. And when you look at the numbers that are coming out of World Superbike testing, both Sykes and Johnny Ray are already up at the front end, not having to worry. And I think similar things would happen if we went through a testing, an official testing worldwide, look at how South African racing is going to go. We don't normally do that. They normally do their own secret testing around the country. But nonetheless, the current ZX-10 and the new form it's going to take next year have already got championship winning status.
And as far as the rules go, we know that there is a home for the new BMW S1000RR. There's a home for the ZX-10R, but there's also a home for the Yamaha. So when you look at the stats and the power performances of all those bikes, we have 3 potential race winners. I'm not discounting the Honda in particular, but we know that the numbers aren't super good on the Honda blade as it is now. Great suspension, great chassis. Everyone says a wonderful rider's bike, but you need the ponies, man.
You certainly do if you're going to be playing at this level. You also have to take into account that we spoke about Honda, but there's a good possibility we may see the return of the Big S next year with Suzuki looking to come and get involved with 2,000 cc's in Super GP and 2 600s in the Super 600s. So looking forward to, if that comes off, I really think it'll be a machine that could also...
Well, if it does, I mean, Suzuki, this is before my time getting back across this side of the pond, but Suzuki took a ton of national championships in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Hudson Kennel being one of the riders that got one. Stuart McLeod was a rider who got one. So certainly has got race winning history behind it.
What was the last one? Arushan?
I think Arushan Mudu was the last one, yeah. It's the helmet that's sitting in my garage right now.
I need to point out something as well. You and I were speaking about it. I actually had to run down to check what the situation was halfway through Super Poles, but Dylan White's bike has been rebuilt overnight. He joins the pack at the back.
That's great to see, because remember yesterday they were keeping Dylan off the bike just in case something went wrong with Kinsella's bike. That is what the focus is at Portable Shade Race Kawasaki this weekend. It is all about maintaining that #1 board on that bike that just went through our shot. And Kinsella, looking at the championship right now, he is on 278 points. Lance Isaacs on 254 points. And third place, Brent Herron on 214. So with 50 points up for grabs, Herron can catch Isaacs. Isaacs can catch Sella. What is going to happen? That's the chess game we're about to see.
Well, based on what we know about the guys, what's in their heads, what happens behind those visors and the steely eyes, Sella isn't a guy that plays safe. You know, he's not just going to back it down and say, I'll take points as long as I'm ahead of Lance. He's not going to do that. He wants wins. He's a pure racer. He just wants wins. When you win a championship, it's because of the more wins you have, not because of the more second places.
Proof of the pudding was yesterday when he threw it all down the road after being second in qualifying. He went into Super Pole and blitzed everybody again. So he wasn't going to throw, he literally, as I said, as the saying goes, he took caution and threw it into the wind because to get that Super Pole is now sorted out.
All right, let's call out the whole shot. From the front row, from the middle of the front row, qualifying in second place. It's going to be very hard to beat Garrick Flock.
Yeah, and the Wild Child is extremely good off the line, but we know that when Sella and Brandon Good are pretty much fired up, it's a Kawasaki front row. It is 2 BMWs and a Kawasaki on the second row, a BM and a Yamaha, and of course a Kawasaki on the third row. We haven't mentioned Ryan van Arsviken. Last row is Nicholas van Walt, Ronald Slammert, and Robert Portman. And fortunately, as you picked up on, the Gambler has been thrown in right at the end to make up a fifth row of this grid on the 23 Portable Shade Kawasaki.
Do please watch for Robert Portman and Nick van der Walt off the line. I've noticed in the last 2 races, they have got some kind of setup that fires those Yamaha R1s at least 1 row up off the line. So even though they've had a torrid time and they know they're getting way outgunned as far as horsepower goes, their pull-off is insane.
Okay, there's the man that made the call on the left-hand side, Sean Cronin, our technical consultant for Monster Energy SuperGP Champions Trophy, and for this class particularly, has emptied the tanks on the first 4 bikes and gone with a control fuel to make sure that everybody is on a level playing field for this first race of the final round of the SuperGP Champions Trophy.
I'm so keen to see what Carl Robinson can do. The natural progression to move up the grid. Pole position, the number 1, the reigning champion, Clinton Seller, looking for the whole shot to run away, but the man behind him is trying to push hard. It's not a great drop, but
It's
Goody. Goody's got the hammer down, as has Garrick Flock. So we're going to have the Wild Child and Goody leading things out. Clinton Seller only goes 3rd place, but importantly, Isaacs is 4th.
Yeah, Isaac's behind him as Good goes in. Oh, Wild Child up into 1st. Garrick Flock going through there. You said it wasn't a great start. It was a good start. It was Brandon Good who had the start. And he goes into turn number 3 now with Seller trying to sneak up on his inside. Garrick Flock has got to the front, has already opened up 5 bike lengths over Brandon Good. Here comes Isaacs. Isaacs on the inside of Seller. Goes on the... Oh, no! Isaacs is down!
Isaacs too hot up the inside of Clinton Seller. Outbraked himself on the curb. Tagged the back wheel of Brandon Good. And Isaacs has just taken himself officially out of the championship.
The championship is done. The championship is done. If Clinton Seller finishes... there's the replay. Oh, he tried to go up the inside of both bikes. Isaacs got on the inside of Clinton Seller. Didn't get it right, clipped the back end of Brandon Good. Brandon Good runs wide, Isaacs is off, it's over.
That was a pure desperation move. He saw the back wheel of Seller, he said, I'm gonna go up the inside early. He climbed the curb, the front end of the Black Swan BMW twitched, he let go of the brakes, tagged the back end of Goody, and it's over.
15.5 laps completed. It
the race was over.
4 corners to sort this championship out.
Exactly.
Going into turn 4, Isaacs tried something. It didn't pay off. The gamble didn't work. He's gone. And now we've got a race on. And it's a race for the final race victory here in race 1 and 2. Because Seller will probably now just take it very comfortable. He saw his arch rival and championship rival for the entire season crash in front of him.
Commiserations to Brandon Good, because he looked like he was going to be able to run away. He was definitely picked up and unsettled because that BMW hit him hard, and he has dropped out of this one now. He's going to be battling with the second Black Swan Racing BMW of Brent Herron. All the time, though, it's going to be all about Garrick Flock. He is off the front, and Clinton Seller is not going to take long to catch him up. But watch out for 3rd place. Shelley, I said he was going to be a good starter. He is. He's up there running in the 3 spot right now.
Yeah, and in fact, he is the leading BMW. So that is an amazing effort there from the Tar Pave Shop 74 BMW of Anthony Shelley. He's ahead of Good. He's ahead of Brent Herron, the second of the Black Swan BMWs. And as I mentioned, it is Black Swan BMW rider Brent Herron that took a victory here. Isaacs is back up. There you can see him heading down out of the dog bone and into the back straight. But how damaged is that bike? It doesn't matter how damaged it is.
He's going to stay out there.
There is no way he'll get from there to the front in 16 laps. In 15 now.
All he can do now is stay out there and hope for the worst from his championship rival. So it's going to be a very hard thing to do. And I desperately hope we don't see a lapping situation as Good comes up on the back wheel of Shelley. And Shelley, the little kid, barely hanging on to that big BMW, and the thing is dancing all over the place.
It's the battle of the young guns there right now, because Shelley, Good, and Brent Herron having a magic battle.
And they go up in stature as well.
Pretty much.
Shelley's the small bear. The medium bear is good. And
oh, Shelley's down.
Shelley
with a massive moment. Brandon Good having to take evasive action twice on that BMW. He missed Shelley and then had to take evasive action to miss the bike. So Good has to go wide again. Can you believe this?
Baby Bear just lit that thing up and it got the better of him. That's a heartbreaker. He was just too hard on the gas.
Oh, he's just trying so hard to try and pull a bit of a gap there, I think. So the tar pave shot number 74 BMW. Here is the replay coming into our sights right now. He just got on the loud pedal a little bit too much.
Way too early.
High sides off the top of the bike. Watch Good though. Misses the BMW, misses his friend, and has to miss the BMW a second time and on the grass.
Actually, while it was sliding there, it picked up a little bit of pace. So he's, that's two BMWs that have tried to take out Brandon Good. Good is not having a great day.
He had a fantastic start, but it ended at the front end. Seller has just lit up the circuit and taken the lead with a 53.7 on his last lap. He now leads out ahead of Garrick Flock. Can Garrick Flock out of the saddle? Is Garrick Flock going to be a bit of a spoiler here? We've already seen so much action between these two this season.
These are the conditions that we've been talking about. It doesn't look like it's greasy out there, but there is just no heat in this tarmac, and the guys are spinning the tires all over the place. Garrick Flock able to save a lot of situations, but Garrick Flock, he is a danger man. Do not write him off. He desperately wants to take a win by the end of the season. He's been so close.
Yeah, he's doing extremely close, and he's even closer to it now. He can actually taste the champagne at the end of this race one. But
if anything, he's the man that could take out Seller.
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
Because there's a good possibility of it happening for sure. But
he's the only guy close enough to him.
Will Seller give him a bit of space if he needs it? Because he doesn't have to worry about anything else right now.
There are sectors of the track where Garrick Flock is faster than Seller. He's doing a very clever thing here. He's doing a lot of learning.
I'm hoping that Gugu has gone down to Lance Isaacs' pit to try and get some kind of reaction from them. I'm hoping that he's down there at some point. Let's see.
Oh, down in the pits, looking at Shelley, and Googs is down there trying to get some reaction out of the kid.
Looks like he's a little bit sore there, Gugu, as well. I think a little bit of injury. Probably a little bit bruised and battered, but fortunately, we'll get him back for race number 2. Look at this, though.
The Gambler.
Hello, up to 4th. The Gambler is up to 4th place. He's ahead of Ivan van Niekerk. Carl Robinson is fighting for 6th and 7th with the Red Baron. This is absolutely amazing stuff halfway through the field.
Just to talk about the class of the riders, that our rookie, the oldest rookie in the history of motorsport racing, by the way, and the best mustache out there, but he is ahead of regional Cape Town national and Superbike champion Ronald Slammert.
Yes, indeed.
There's big names there, man.
WPMC regional champion for 2014 and 2013. Back-to-back victories for that man on the Mike Hopkins Novell Ford Kawasaki. Is being outgunned by Fantech's Carl Robinson, as you said, the rookie of SuperGP.
I'll tell you what, we might see here, because it has been a very quick charge for Dylan White to hit clean air. And if you look up the road, it's only about maybe 2.5 seconds for him to find the back wheel of Harron. He is on for a possible podium.
And if he runs the kind of pace we've seen out of Dylan White when he is on form, he will close that gap down. But anybody want to buy a Kawasaki? Because there's a few of them fighting out right here. Look at that. Dylan White, Ivan van Niekerk, the Fantech Kawasaki of Carl Robinson. It's the Kawasaki of the Red Baron. And on their tail, the Gem Auto Kawasaki of Ryan van Arswegen.
You got to say, a couple of these guys have benefited from the situations. Is that Isaacs on the recovery?
That's Good coming back.
That's Brandon Good on the way back there. I was trying to pick up on the colors of the helmets there. We'll see where Isaacs is. I don't know if he's pulled into the pits. If he has, we'll certainly send Gugu down there to go have a chat. But he is out there circulating.
He's still circulating.
Because that's really the only thing he can do. But how hard is it going to be in his head to just keep going around that track? Because at some stage, they're going to lap him. That's going to hurt.
It's going to hurt. It already hurt, I think, as he climbed up and realized his mistake. It was a little bit too early in the race to make that kind of maneuver. But you know what? You've got to throw the gauntlet down. You've got to get in the gamble as quickly as possible. And it could have paid off. Unfortunately, it didn't. And Lance Isaacs on the Black Swan BMW now. Still circulating, but he is a long way back. Looking at the difference there, it was a minute behind Nicholas van der Walt on the previous one. I'm sure it's closed down ever so slightly now. But at the front end, the battle continues here between the Wild Child and Kinsella. Now, I mentioned the fact there's been a bit of rivalry between the two of them. Sella had some words to say. He went back on them when Garrick got on the podium with him, and now all of a sudden this is a man who could potentially spoil something special here for Sella. I don't think he would go and purposely do it.
Certainly not.
But he's certainly going to give it a try to get onto the top.
He wants to do the big fight back. You know, there's been questions asked about the style of riding. The pace is definitely there, but I, for one, would really like to see this guy climb the ladder all the way to the top, because heading into the 2015 season, I'm going to throw some money on this kid. He's going to take a few wins.
Looking back with concern, I have to say, from Sella's point of view.
And Sella's doing some block lines as well. He's definitely covering the inside line. He doesn't want to see that 64, the neon red wheel, get up the inside, because Flock just doesn't feel anything for anyone out there. He will go, he'll make it count. And his pace has been unreal. And it's just an astounding journey to see his climb from regional level for the last 2 years to get up to full national and really trouble the back wheel of a multiple champion.
Well, Garrick Flock rides for preempt, fire, and security. He is certainly fired up, and he is preempting a possibility of the top of the podium for the very first time at this last round of the Monster Energy Super GP Champions Trophy. And where he is right now is in a mass... Oh, this could be a change up in the lead again. Sella looked over the wrong shoulder, and Garrick Flock is going to go into the lead, into the chicane. He's done it.
He gifted him that one, and to be honest, Sella let that happen. It was a fake look over. I know exactly what that was. He looked over the wrong shoulder. He allowed the rider to go to the other side, and he's just going to go. I would
prefer to be in that position.
Much rather follow Garrick Flock. Much rather.
I have to second that, third it, fourth it, and maybe even stamp it with a 7.
Greg, there's still 11 laps to go, man. My goodness me.
Clint Sella, well done, bud. Let the wild child out front follow his lines. And yeah, don't let him get away too far, because if anything does go wrong, you don't want to be involved.
Let me tell you what's happening a little bit further back. We're going to stay with the leaders, but Brent Herron has reacted to the charge from Dylan White and has kept that 1.5 second gap.
So here he comes in the background. There is the Black Swan Energy BMW. It's a short straight between 3 and 4.
That's bigger than 1.5 seconds. Where is Dylan White?
There he is.
But White, that is a way back, man.
White, I think, maybe just got it wrong through 1 and 2. He now comes down to 4. This is a nice battle for 5th place, though. Ivan van Niekerk, the Red Baron has now got... Where? Oh, Robinson's gone missing.
Oh,
Carl Robinson has dropped out of that dramatically. He's not there. Brandon Good is certainly there. He is all over the back and looking for a way past on Ryan van Arsvichen. But I think just in the background, I saw the silver streak go through there. When I say that, I don't mean the silver streak of Carl Robinson's hair and his grey line, but certainly the silver Fantech Kawasaki is not too far off, but he has lost ground to these 4 riders.
Well, let's review it as well as I look at the score sheets as well. So Garrick Flock and Sella, they're out front. Then it's Herron, he's in no man's land, as is Dylan White, to be honest. The freight train is Ivan van Niekerk, Slamet, Ryan van Arsviken, Brandon Good, and it's a free fall down the score sheets for Robinson.
He's actually gone behind the 2 Yamahas as well. So something must have happened. Maybe he ran off. Maybe he was feeling the pressure there a little bit and pushed a bit too hard. Run wide on one of the corners. We're not quite sure. We didn't pick it up, but unfortunately he's now down in 11th place. Isaacs is closing in on him. There's about a 30-second deficit to him. There is Herron trying to close. It's 3rd place for Herron. The Black Swan Energy BMW, now the leading BMW on track.
I got to know what's happened to Dylan White. He's had a massive mistake, because he brought that gap down to under 1.5 seconds. And that is huge now. It's around about 6 or 7 seconds. He's not going to be able to bridge that one.
You did say there was an issue on the bike yesterday, though, and maybe that issue's come back again.
When I walked past there was no front end on the bike. That's an issue.
Yeah, so they certainly worked hard to get it right for this race. He got out on track, but it's not the same bike he was fighting for a win with in Durban. It's not the same bike that he was fighting for a win with at Swartkops either.
Did you see that? 3rd place qualifier coming out of Superpole. Brandon Good gesticulating. Something is not right with his bike. He ain't happy.
He's probably having to work around it, and that's the true mark of a top rider in this class, is the fact that if you do have an issue on your bike, that's an issue, but he had a big look up. Oh, and Ryan van Arsviken actually looked straight into Arai to Arai there, buddy.
You know, the thing is, with those turnarounds, especially that turn number 3, if you try and get up the inside of someone, you think you've made the pass, so you think, okay, I'm going to grab a handful. That's when things get sideways and you get flicked out of the seat. If you try and square back on these big double or triple apexes, that's when these things light up.
So now we're into 10 laps to go.
Van Niekerk is closing on Dylan White.
Heads up on a move here from Brandon Good, looking to go on the inside of Ryan van Arsviken. He did have another look, put the wheel there, but I think he had to back out of it because Van Arsviken did a similar move to Ronald Slamet. So Red Baron, Van Arsviken, and Goody having a fantastic battle here.
Brandon Good on the 71 machine, the 3rd rider in shot right now, is obviously feeling a little bit blocked and balked at the moment. He cannot get his laps in. He cannot move forward. the next pass will be an ugly one, believe me.
He has to try and get ahead because he's losing ground to these guys. And if he loses any more ground, it's unfortunately going to be costly because he's already had 2, not mistakes of his own, but 2 mistakes to deal with out on circuit.
Dylan White has got a massive problem because Ivan van Niekerk has closed in to the tune of half a second. Dylan White is about to get sent back. I don't think his bike is making the power that he wants to. In fact, I think he is on the full spare machine right now.
The wild child, as always, wild as ever going across the line, getting very squirrely out of that final chicane, but Sella right on his tail. And I've got to agree with our sentiments a bit earlier on. He's much happier in second place right now.
Yeah, he is definitely able to run out front, but you just don't want that threat of a loose cannon behind you. Bike prepped by Steve Cannon, by the way.
Yes, indeed.
Waiting for you to make that link. Thank you very much.
Nice, that aero cannon.
Yeah, but these guys are the class of the field at the moment. There's nothing in between them, and you've got to go 5.5 seconds back to pick up on second place. But Sella, you know, I know the rider, and he's going to feel a little bit frustrated, and he's going to have that, oh, come on, let's go a little bit faster in his head.
Certainly, but I think it'll be a slightly different outlook from Sella than what we would have had at the beginning of the season. He'll be sitting there going, yeah, come on, Garrick, let's get it on. But you know what? Flock runs wide, under braking.
He just outbraked himself there. Okay, now the race is going to change completely. Sella is not going to want to follow. He's going to try and lead and run away and break him. And we know that he can.
Yeah.
Every now and again, Sella throws those 2, maybe 3 hot laps at this stage of the race, and there is no fight back from that. You don't have to ask him twice. That was the invitation right there. Get gone.
What I have to agree with is you're spot on in terms of that. But here at this track particularly, Garrick Flock has matched Sella. Almost mono style in terms of lap times. That is the official fastest lap so far of race number 1 with a 53.7. We saw 54.3s coming out of Garrick Flock yesterday, and that allowed him to get to the front end of qualifying. Remember, in the Super Pole, he was able to go even quicker, as was Sella. So, as I said, it's a mono fight here between the two of them and their ability to keep those bikes out. And that little battle is actually slowing them down for Heron.
And I'm actually so glad we stayed with the shot. Good job for the director, because we are seeing the demise of Dylan White. This is Ivan van Niekerk. He is through. No sign of Dylan White. So the problems that we highlighted 2 laps ago, and Dylan White has free-falled.
Yeah, he's actually heading down through the dog bone section. I just picked up on that green machine in the back end. So White has got some problems. A little bit of a change up though, as Ronald Flammett is about to be eaten up by Brandon Good. Good looking for a way through into turn 1. Lead change again, and yes, we saw that. But look at that. As I said, check out the gap between Brent Heron and these two.
Yeah.
These two swapping and changing. They are slowing each other down ever so slightly, and Heron has just been on it every single lap, putting in consistent 55s.
Good numbers and a good situation for Brandon Good. He did look frustrated. I mean, it's a heartbreaker. You've got to go catch up with him, even if he doesn't make the podium, because he just got tagged by everyone out there. I thought he was a Facebook account for a second. Everyone was just hitting him and tagging him that first 2 laps.
Yeah, but he wasn't liking it, that's for sure.
Yeah, he certainly wasn't liking that status.
All right, yeah. Hashtag not a happy camper.
Hashtag I am not a bumper cart.
He'll come back in the second race, don't worry. Well, Garrick Flock right now with Sella in what I would say is the best position to be in right now, behind Garrick Flock, not in front of him. And as you can see, I think as we picked up on a couple of occasions, Sella has rolled out of it on braking points. He's not shown a wheel, but he could have shown a wheel. So if it comes down to the next 7 and a quarter laps to go, he can get up ahead of Flock and probably spoil the day for him.
If he makes a pass, though, it is going to have to be the cleanest pass known to mankind, because it could be here. I mean, he's got a good line up the inside there. No, he had a chance there. If you make that pass at the top there, you have to take your rival so deep, you stand a chance of running yourself too deep and just hashing the next corner.
Yeah, look at the wheelie on the left-hand side of the bike as he came through there. Flicks it over onto the right. Mid-wheelie.
I could watch Garrick Flock ride all day. It's so entertaining, and arguably the most muscular rider on the bike. He just moves the thing around. He doesn't have to roll off the throttle. He just moves his chin over the bars.
I just love the fact that he pulls it through mid-wheelie and changes direction. Right, coming onto the straightaway now.
Where's Heron?
Ivan van Niekerk. Heron's gone through. Heron did go through.
Oh, sweated there.
Ivan, and now Brandon Good. He's got ahead of both Slamet and Van Aswegen, and now looks to close in on Van Niekerk. Only 2 seconds adrift. Enough time to close in on Van Niekerk and get up into 4th place after all the hassles he's had in race 1.
Dylan White, confirmation in the pits. So not just a free fall, but a retirement. Dylan White in the pits. We may see him come out a little bit later. as they turn the screws and try and figure out what the problem was on the bike. But Dylan White definitely not happy to stay out there on circuit.
Let's see if we can get Gugu down there.
He becomes the second rider to pit in. So Anthony Shelley and Dylan White.
Or maybe we can get somebody to bring Dylan White up to Gugu, because it doesn't look like we're going to get the reach to him. But yeah, Dylan White, if you are down there, just have a see if you can get hold of Gugu and let us know what went wrong there, buddy. It's hard luck once again for Dylan White. The gambler hasn't had the greatest end to the season, but he has got potential and has shown potential in this team. Really got some race-winning pace when he had it. Fortunately, it's not there today.
Yeah, one of the few riders other than Clinton Seller and Lance Isaacs to actually take a win on the season. What we had? We only had 4 winners on the year so far. Garrick Flock would make it 5 different winners on the season. At the moment, he is in the front, but I think he's only in the front because Seller doesn't want to be there.
Yeah, and because Seller's allowing him to be there right now. Flock will probably change us up in our opinion right there. He'll be saying, no, I'm in front because I'm leading here.
Yeah, but he's not seeing the images we are. There are places on this track where Seller is literally half throttle, or it's what looks to be half throttle anyway. Isaacs is still out there. He's circulating his last lap time of 1:57, so he's around 2 seconds off the pace. That's just because he doesn't have to push. He cannot find any numbers. He is still a long way off the back. The guys that are running outside the top 5 at the moment, 6th place is Slamet, then Ryan van Asbeek and Nick van der Walt is still the lead Yamaha ahead of Robbie Portman, Carl Robinson, Lance Isaacs.
I just picked up on exactly what we asked for. Thank you very much, Dylan. You're making your way up to the camera and with Gugu alongside him. So that's a great effort there from Googs and from Dylan. Thank you very much. As soon as we get that interview set up, we'll go across to Dylan and find out what went wrong on the second of the Portable Shade Kawasaki's. But right now, the first of the Portable Shade Kawasaki's is doing it all right to wrap up the SuperGP Championship.
Yeah, I'm concerned that Seller will not like to take a second place. All right, Googs is down on the grid with Dylan White to explain what happened.
Yes, Matt, with Dylan. Dylan, what happened out there? Because you're supposed to be out there on the racetrack. At this moment in time, you're sitting here with me.
Yeah, look, obviously with the crash that I had yesterday, messed up the electronics, so yeah, it seems to be an electrical fault.
Do you think you'll be able to sort it out for the round 2?
Yeah, we're going to try. It's electrical faults always hard to find.
Fantastic, thank you. Over to Matt and Greg.
Thanks, Googs. Good hustle down there in the pits. Thanks, Dill, for coming and finding us. Yeah, when we find the stories, we have to go and get the numbers on the page. We can't just say a retirement. It's good to find out the situation. And so often, the electrical gremlins, after a full rebuild, so tricky. You put the bike back together and you think everything's dialed in, nothing's bent, everything's in a straight line. But it's those little electrical gremlins. And Seller, once again, showing that he's got the pace, and I think that's where the pass is going to be, Greg. If Seller wants the final win on the season, he's going to do it at the top of the hill because he is so much more settled on the brakes at the top. The bike looks very comfortable.
It makes no difference. Oh, there's a rider down.
Robinson.
That's, yes, I would have to say that. Yes, indeed,
Yep.
Carl Robinson.
Confirmation, the colors and the leathers telling me that. Robinson was on the fight back as well. He was down there in around about 9th or 10th place. And Robinson, I wonder if he was getting closed down by Isaacs at the time.
I wouldn't say so just yet, but
Isaacs was way
42 seconds. No, it's definitely not been closed down. I think what had happened there, Carl might have made a mistake earlier on, as we picked up on, and he's run wide. Now he's tried to close the gap quickly. He goes across to the ER24 team. They'll just make sure he's okay. There is a visor off on his showy helmet, so that's always a concern.
He's taken a hit.
He seems to be okay.
All right, so commiserations to our rookie, the man stepping in at the final round for the Super GPs, but our already newly crowned Super M champion. But I think he showed his pace with Super Pole in qualifying, and he was looking good numbers early on too.
He shows potential as well, Matt, which is great to see. Great potential. Change up for the lead, though, as Seller sneaks on the inside into the very sharp left-hander. It's a double left there, and then into a triple right. And a good effort there to get ahead. Now with 4.5 laps to go, Seller hits the front.
Great shot there to stay with these guys for so long, showing how much side edge they are on. You are very rarely in a straight line unless you are genuinely on a straight here at Redstar Raceway. The tires do a ton of work, and great shot to show the undulations. Flock wants to get back at this.
Yeah, he's not giving this up.
He wants to get back at it for sure. Oh, that was a chance. That was definitely a chance. This is making me sweat. It really is. Nothing is wrapped up here at all. There are 2 very important factors to consider. Seller and Flock. I mean, both these guys simply do not back down.
Especially Flock when he's in this kind of position. And there is another maneuver to
He had a chance.
through.
Yeah, he showed the wheel for sure.
Maybe he'll hold that a little bit back further on. But just to give you an indication in terms of working out on the point system here, Matt, if Sella finishes up in second place, where he is not at the moment, if he takes the win, he's going to be 44 points ahead of Lance Isaacs. If he takes second place, he's going to be 39 points ahead of Isaacs. If they stay as they are right now. If, of course, we've now lost Kyle Robinson, it throws in an extra point, so it becomes 43 and 38. Yeah. 38, can you believe that? That's Lance Isaacs' number.
Well, you have to be a numerist, so there's a kind of a belief system in that numbers, isn't there? 10th place at the moment for Lance Isaacs. He's sitting 40 seconds off the back wheel of Robbie Portman, who holds 9th. So there's going to be no climb up for that. He is going to have to accept the 10th place. And, well, you can see on the circuit where Kyle Robinson is there, so we can actually pick up on where that crash happened. It looked to me like it was coming out of turn number 3.
Yeah. 2 or 3, that's where it's gone all wrong. So, unfortunately, the Fantech Kawasaki is out of this one. Hopefully he's okay and not too harshly injured. It looked that way. And if that's the case, I'm sure the Uncle Andy's team will get that Kawasaki sorted out for race number 2. And you can just come out for a bit of a swan song and some fun and games in amongst these. I think what he's done here is really good. It's what we spoke about the whole season is if he wins it, go up to SuperGP, see what you can do.
It's good to
he
be
can
there.
Do it.
It's good to be there, just to put yourself into there. It's like sticking your toe into a bath of hot water, just to know you can do it. And we've been telling him the whole way through the year, your times, your caliber of riding, and your mental focus show that you can run with these guys, and there's definitely a chance of top 5 finishes and a fluky podium every now and again.
Yes, indeed. That's exactly what he should be looking for at the point of his racing career. Because remember, he has done a Super Championship.
Hanging a leg, telling Garrick Flock to go past. He told him to go past. That was the gesticulation.
I wonder if that was a pit board warning him to say, listen, let that man through. Don't fight out for this win. You don't need the win. As much as you'd like to take it, right now, once again, a left to right hand flick on the back wheel.
He just enjoys it.
Oh my goodness,
he literally is turning the bike on the back wheel. There's very few guys that can do that. But with 3 laps to go, is Sella telling him the win's yours, the pass is yours? I mean, 3 laps. Sella doesn't like to follow anybody, but so I don't know what the story is here. I don't know what games we're playing. I'd love to. I want Gugu. If Gugu can hear me, go and find the pit board and go and find Brad. I want to know the story.
Yeah, let's get a shot of that portable shade Kawasaki pit board and what they are telling Clint Sella to do. Because really, there is hardly any time in his career that I've seen Sella put a foot out and say, it's all yours.
Yeah, it just doesn't happen. I just don't think he wants this guy on his back wheel. But whether he's going to actually give him the win, I do not know. I'm not taking anything away from the riding of Garrick Flock here, by the way, when Greg and myself are talking about the fact that Sella is rolling it out. It's just that we can see that there are places on the track where Sella is rolling out, like the one we just said there.
So Sella just hanging on for the championship, not the race win. That's what I have to take into account. That's exactly what I think his plan of action is here. He is able to get past Garrick Flock anytime he wants to. Flock is going to be ecstatic to take his first national championship win at the final round, and I'm sure that that's exactly what's going to happen here, unless we get a sneaky little move there from Sella on the end.
Yeah, let's review 3rd and 4th place at the moment. Harron is there, but Vanny Kirk has dropped way off. Harron has certainly sped up the second half of this race. He's only 7.5 seconds off these two, but Vanny Kirk is 11. Sorry, yeah, am I right with that? No, 21 seconds behind in 4th. Yeah. Something has happened.
Lead change as Sella goes down the back straight this time and just returns the favor.
That's where the pass is going to be for the lead if it comes down to that on the last lap. Because look how Sella went half throttle there. He didn't allow the run. Oh, you see, that was a setup. He is testing him.
He's playing around with the kid. Wild Child's not going to be happy about that.
Yeah, see, you told him to go past it. Why must I go past? Why? Why must I go past? You're playing with me.
Oh, Flock had to look up the inside there as Sella turned his head to the left-hand side of the bike.
Sella's playing a risky game now because he's starting to, you can see, he's starting to cheese Flock off.
Yeah, and I think there's a good possibility that Flock now to say, listen, I'm going to try and get away from you now. I'm sick and tired of your mind games that you're playing with. But it is still a chance of a victory here for both of these riders. It's more importantly a chance of a 3rd championship in a row. We mentioned the fact earlier on yesterday and today that Sella has won a 600cc Supersport championship. He then moved on and took a 1000cc championship in the old MSA championship for 1000cc superbikes. He is now about to make it a 3rd different championship in a row with winning the SuperGP Class here this weekend.
What did he do when he was in the US? I don't know if he won, but he certainly ran good in the US AMA Endurance Series as well. We often forget that.
Had some podiums, didn't win the championship, but he was up there on the podiums a lot. So he's got what it takes. We've seen him on podiums in South Africa for a long, long time. When he used to run under his own colours on a Suzuki at one point, he moved across to Kawasaki at one point. So he has got what it takes, and of course this is going to be a well-deserved victory. It's just a massive pity there for the BMW team that it all went wrong. 4 corners into race number 1, lap number 1.
Yeah, we're going to review the footage as we go along the day. The incident where Lance Isaacs essentially took himself out of the race and the championship, but he's oh, look at that. Sella is just so strong at the top end there. As he clicks, I don't even know if he is clicking 6th gear, but I would put some money on the fact that he is either over revving in 5th or staying in 6th. But his body language has changed. Sella's body language has changed. He's going to run now.
Right, we're about to see history made here because it is the final lap of SuperGP's inaugural championship, and this is race 1 of the final round.
Okay,
this is where the championship could be wrapped up. Let's wait and see what happens on this next 3.7 Ks right now.
No leg dangling. There'll be no looking back. This is Sella. He's going to lead across the stripe, and he's just going to run. Flock may be able to stay with him, but this is going to be late as you like. Every corner is going to be pinpoint perfect. This will be a super pole lap out of Sella.
Considering he's at the lead of this race on the last lap, I think that's exactly what he's doing. And you can see he's already bridged 2-3 bike lengths. So that is exactly what he wants to try and do here on this final lap. Give it everything he can. Don't let Flock have an opportunity to spoil my day here and spoil my championship.
He is breaking that throttle right now. Flock late on the brakes there, but Sella will be able to play the blocking role. And realistically, unless there is a pass early on, you can see how early Flock is trying to get on the gas. Completely different styles. Sella's bike, you can see planted, not moving around at all. MP, Martin Petzold suspension, is going to be high-fiving himself all over the place because look at the difference in the setup of the bikes. Whoa! As I say that, a massive twitch on the front end for Sella, and he almost flicked himself off.
That would have been a massive change-up for this particular race. He's battling with that front end, bud. That might be tyre issues, it might be suspension issues, but he's certainly not as smooth as what it was earlier on.
This is the big build-up now because this is a massive sweeper and Flock is in a good position. This is the last time up the big straight and Flock is going to stay in that slip. You can't even see him until the last minute. Sella, oh, he's so strong though. That bike is so strong at the top end.
Yeah, amazing bit of riding here. The checkered flag is standing by. Ladies and gents, you're about to see your first SuperGP Champions Trophy champion crowned here at race 1 at Redstar, and the championship is done. Sella's got it. Amazing stuff there. What a race to sort it all out. Garrick Flock gave him a very good run for his money, and you can see he's enjoyed that. But it is all done and dusted now. Clint Sella, your 2014 SuperGP champion.
I can't believe he was able to just absorb that pressure. What a hard situation to be in. He'd have been told via the pit boards at PS Racing, Brandon Nassas Kawasaki, that Lance was out. Just stay out there. A top 3 finish, pretty much just a finish was all you needed. But he knew he wanted to take the win. High five from Harron as he passes. And we have a new champion and another number 1 plate goes straight to Brandon Nassas Racing. Flag is out. We've got 1, 2, and 3. Sella over Flock. Harron got that 3rd place. Ivan van Niekerk just crossing the stripe there to take the 4th. Ahead of Brandon Good, Ryan van Asveken, Ronnie Slammert, Nicholas van der Vault. 9th place is going to go to Robbie Portman. And 10th, most importantly, 10th place to Isaacs. Not enough to stay in the championship hunt. He steps out and will have to settle for the number 2 spot come the end of the season. So incredible racing, and no doubt we will see some big celebrations coming out of the Brad and Nassas Racing team. Brad, I saw his reaction as Lance went down. He just nodded to his team. There wasn't jubilation. You do not celebrate the fact that a rider has gone down, but it was a nod, and he said, we've got it. It's done. Pass the instructions down to Clinton. Tell him what he needs to do just to stay in it. Sella did what he had to do. He read the boards at the right time. He read the situation and the race, and there is the shot of Lance Isaacs. He did what he had to do. He went for a do or die move. The shake of the head tells you the story. He knows that it was all his own doing, but we all ask ourselves, in the same situation, in the same circumstances, would we do the same if we saw the gap? The man that he was trying to pass was this man, Sella. And if he had, it may have changed the race up. Throw it all in and gamble. It's come down to the last race. Sometimes that's what you've got to do. Here's confirmation of the results coming out of the first heat at the final round here of the SuperGP Champions Trophy and the SuperGP category. Clinton Sella, your reigning champion, takes the win, and it was a hard-fought victory ahead of Garrick Flock. It's the Portable Shade Kawasaki that wins out the Privateer Kawasaki. Then Brent Herron, the first of the BMW S1000s, riding out of Black Swan Racing. Ivan van Niekerk did a very good job to get himself up into 4th place. He fought hard to get that position. Brandon Good, the man that got tagged in that, I think it was the 3rd turn, coming into the first lap there. Brandon Good got tagged by Lance Isaacs. He got 5th place, so a good recovery for him. The man who qualified in 3rd place, Ryan van Asvik, and then Ronnie Slamet, Nicholas van der Walt, Robbie Portman, and Lance Isaacs, 10th place, and not enough to stay in the championship hunt. So there he is, coming into the pits. And Clinton Sella has done it once again. He has gone 3 for 3. He has got 3 championships in 3 years of asking, and is becoming a legend in South African superbike racing. He comes into the pits to the adoration of his crew, but spare a thought listening to the roar of Garrick Flock. He worked hard and very nearly took the win. But it's another championship, and the Evil Knievel shirts come out. That is his nickname. Clinton Evil Knievel Sella and Brad Onassis just recognizing that fact. We've got a new champion again. Greg's going to be down there to pick up on all the reactions. We'll let Clint just wipe the tear from his eye, because no doubt that was a very hard and emotional race for him. But he's got it done once again, and he's got it done in style.
I know you're working with the bike team first, but I'm currently on camera, man.
All right, we've got Greg Maloney down there, and he's going to be catching up with the podium finishers and some reactions from the race, and of course the reaction from the new champ.
Is it going on? So down here for race number 1 at Monster Energy Super GP Champions Trophy. A fantastic effort out there, and unfortunately some good luck, some bad luck on this first race of our final round. Some great effort put in by all the riders, and looking forward to seeing these riders getting up on the podium now. As you can see, it's a bit of a change up from the norm, but definitely at the top of the podium, the normal man is there. On the 3rd spot, though, and we want to get him up there as he goes in high-fives, Garrick Flock. It's a magnificent effort to get a BMW onto the podium. He had to work hard all race long. He wasn't the fastest BMW all weekend, but he certainly is the fastest at the end of race number 1. And for Black Swan Energy Racing BMW, let's hear it for the Black Knight himself, Brent Herron. In 2nd place, and man alive, did he keep us a bit concerned all race long, because we know that there's been some arch rivalry between the man who eventually got the victory and this man in 2nd place. There's been some words all season long as well, but it's great to have him back up on the podium again this season for the Preempt Fire and Security Kawasaki team, our very own wild child, Garrick Flock. And ladies and gents, I know we are normally going to be celebrating a championship, but because of the fact that we've got live TV, we're going to give him the championship right now, but we're going to celebrate the championship a bit later on again. He has got his Evil Knievel shirt on. Thank you, Brad Onassis, for picking up on that. It's about time you did. But for Portable Shade Race, Kawasaki, Craig Zank and Associates, very top man, and your new Super GP champion, Clint Evil Knievel Sella. What an awesome effort, guys. Great race out there. As I said, good luck for some, bad luck for others. The good luck starts on 3rd place. Handed out by Mrs. Lee Watson from Gas Sports to Brent Herron. So that's 3rd place, and a shake of the hands for 2nd and 1st. 2nd place going to go from Mr. Anthony Lata, also out of Gas Sports, to Garrick the Wild Child Flock. And the champion, as well as race 1 victor. You can see it there, the big number 1 on the shirt. Great effort. I think the shot they went on Facebook was pretty good, eh? Let's hear it for Mr. Wayne Riddell as he hands it to your new Super GP champion and race 1 winner, Clint Seller. That is your race 1 podium, folks. Make some noise. We're going to see lots more action here in race 2, but let's go and get some rider reactions from our top 3. Well done, guys. Brenty, it didn't go well. Come on down here and let's have a quick chat. It didn't quite go the way you wanted it to this weekend. I know you were battling and could possibly have gone the same as it did in the first time we came here in round 2, where you took a victory. It was on a different machine at that stage. You're on a very, very quick machine here, but it wasn't quite on song like it has been.
Yeah, I've been struggling a lot to get to terms with the BM. Been fiddling and turning screws everywhere, just trying to find some. It seems in this race we found some because I felt like I was delivering pizzas yesterday. Just battling with the pace. So we did a few changes to the first race and from the warm-up and everything, and it seemed to work because the pace was there. Clint and Garrick weren't pulling away or anything. So yeah, I just got to say a big shout out and thanks to Black Swan, GNH Transport, Amtech, Rockwell Watches, BMW South Africa, TK Imports, everyone. They've just been, thanks for picking me up when things are looking slumpy. So yeah.
Well, they're looking a bit better now that you can see the confidence is back with you right now. Good possibility that we may see the Spike back on the podium like we did in round 2. It took you the second race to get that victory, and it's a race 2 coming up.
Yeah, it's only one race, so we're not going to get too big-headed about it, but definitely my confidence is a lot higher than what it was this morning. So hopefully we'll make a few more changes now in the same direction, hopefully be there. So yeah, let's check what happens.
Awesome job. Well done, buddy. Keep it up. Moving on to second place, man. Now the wild child, as we like to call him. He certainly was giving it everything he could in terms of keeping it wild out there, Garrick. On occasions at the front end, but there were a few occasions that you were let through and a few occasions where you fought for the lead as well.
Yeah, me and Clinton were having a nice race. He let me through a couple of times. So yeah, but it was good. I enjoyed it. It was a good race.
Do take us through this final chicane. You're the only man who's going through there and turning left to right on the back wheel.
Just getting hard on the gas and, yeah, standing on the back wheel.
And muscling that Kawasaki around.
Yeah.
You're looking forward to possibly spoiling everybody's day this weekend and taking the final victory of the season?
Yeah, I'm going to try.
We're looking forward to that one. Good luck and well done. Let's get him up here now. Mr. Evil Knievel himself. Wow, dude. It's all gone well, and yes, we've got a preliminary celebration right now, a big one expected after race number 2 with the live TV, so look forward to that. But nonetheless, on occasions out there, it got real. But from your point of view, after turn 4, it was pretty much done.
Yeah, I'm just really fortunate the team that I have. Alfie and Brad and Martin have worked so hard that, to be honest, my bike is it's an easy weapon for me to ride. They gave me such a great bike that I actually can just sort of sit back and enjoy it for a while. So I knew Garrick had a good pace. It's a long lap around here, and it's hard when you're at the front. So him and I had a good race. I knew he had great pace, so we just raced together. And then, to be honest, I knew my bike had it for the last lap, and I just put my head down and did what I had to do to get across the line.
I know that there'll probably be some kind of commiseration there for your arch rival. It's been a tight championship all season long. Lance tried hard. Unfortunately, it was a mistake at the last round that's cost him. But he could come back and maybe take that last victory.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's definitely got the pace. We know that. We've seen that all year, and his bike's great as well. So, yeah, I saw him. I actually just saw him clip Brendan Good, and I kind of just turned around and then looked back, and I saw that he'd fallen. So I'm just hope that he's okay, which is the main thing. We're all here battling against each other, but you never want a guy to get hurt. So, I knew that I'd wrapped up the championship once I'd seen him gone down, but, motorbike racing is a lot of fun, so I was just enjoying myself there.
You certainly had a great one. Looking forward to race number 2 now.
Always.
Taking a small breath here, just making sure the track is all good to go as we head to the feature race of the day and the final bit of racing action, not only for the day, but for the inaugural SuperGP Champions Trophy brought to you by Monster here in 2014. Our very last race of the year is about to get going. We're sending the ER24 Medicar out to make sure the track is all good to go. And after that, we're kicking the tires for the last time and going racing.
All right, so while we're waiting for Gugu to set up there, and of course, as we're not going completely live to television right now, we have got some time to play with before we go to our national anthem. And what we'd like to do is actually just get across to Sir Lancelot and maybe just to get a comment from him. We didn't get to talk to him just before or just after race number 1, after that little bit of an incident that happened. But Gugu's going to go down there and give us a little insight as to what happened. And unfortunately, that gave Lance Isaacs no chance of wrapping up this championship. It went to Clint Siller, and let's find out from Lancelot himself what went down.
Well, Matt and Greg, I'm standing here with Sir Lancelot. He didn't have a fantastic race 1. What happened over there, Lance?
I ran out of talent, quite plainly put. No, you know, I think you know, just the nerves building up to the last race. You know, it's big for everybody. Every race we go into is big. The teams put so much work into it. Black Swan Racing, BMW Motorrad SA, and unfortunately, I just got a little bit overzealous. I made a pass on Clint, and wasn't expecting Brandon Good to be to turn it in that quickly. But it was completely my fault. I apologize to him. But yeah, you know, it's one of those things. You win some, you lose some, and I'd rather go out fighting for the championship than settling for second.
Now tell us, now that we're going to race 2, what can we expect from Black Swan as well as yourself?
Exactly what you've expected this whole season, for me to have fun. Absolutely.
Well, folks, that's Sir Lancelot, and hopefully he'll have a good race 2. Over to Matt and Greg.
Yeah, certainly looking forward to that. I think, Lance, yes, indeed. Commiserations there, buddy. You put in a valiant effort and a great championship nonetheless between yourself and the Evil Knievel. But it's now time for final race honours, the final bit of blood for the season. And I'm going to get Gugu to shoot up and join Craig Gooch up on top of the Redstar Bridge so that we can then move on to the national anthem. So, of course, we're going to set that all up and get ready to rock and roll for that. But as you can see, riders all ready to rock and roll, and the grid ceremony continues as per usual. But with us not going completely live here at SABC, it's a delayed live. We have got some time to play with, so we are going to give you a chance to have a quick listen to something pretty spectacular when it comes to a national anthem for a final round. It's really great to see a little bit of a change up, and as I said, hang tight because I think you're going to be pretty amazed by what we've got for you as our final bit of national anthem. And if we do go to the national anthem once again, folks, we'd also like you to be upstanding and hats off, riders with the helmets off already, and stand by for our national anthem. As you ran out, I was like,
And welcome back. And now for the national anthem as done by Craig Gooch.
is one magnificent rendition of the South African national anthem.
Man.
A big thanks to Thursday's birthday boy there, Craig Gooch. Happy birthday from all of us here at SuperGP, and thanks for coming to join us and give us that amazing rendition of the South African national anthem.
And what a way to kick the tires and light the fires to get us ready for the final bit of racing action in the 2014 season.
Oh, we're looking forward to this one because everything's done now, everything's sorted out. There's no more fights for championship. There's no more fights for anything other than the last blood of the season.
Yep, that is exactly where we are heading now. It is going to be an absolute cracker. Who can take the final victory of the year and the last win of the day? You'd have to be a very clever man with friends in very high places to bet against Clinton Seller right now.
Yes, indeed. But I'm going to throw something out here, as I always have all season long. Get ready to catch this one.
I actually bought a catcher's mitt just ready for you.
Let's get a possibility of Garrick Flock taking a win.
More than a possibility. Wildchild has got some mad skills, and he is the closest rider on this circuit. And you've got to say, actually, the last couple of rounds has been the closest rider to this man. Evel Knievel, Clinton Seller. Nothing feels better than a number 1 plate, and maybe even he can pull something extra special out the bag and just dominate.
Or a number 1 Evel Knievel shirt like Portable Shade have given the entire team.
Gotta love that. Brad just delivering, as always. When his boys win, they know it, and the world knows it.
The world certainly does. So I think he's going to be looking forward to running at the front end. But Garrick Flock, who is alongside him, worked hard. He was only 1/10 off in terms of super pole. He was just behind Clint at the end of race number 1. Can he get ahead of Clint in race 2?
Yeah, definitely got the skills to pay the bills. The one guy that can do the flip over on the back tire, and he has got the eye of the tiger in. He is really pinned wide open. Here's a guy that really needs to turn his day around, and it's all been by no fault of his own. He qualified great, he did an awesome super pole, and he's on the gas. But he got T-boned twice in 1 lap, man.
Yeah, Brandon Good also battled a little bit with some spluttering on that Kawasaki of his. So the CJ Auto Network Blue Kawasaki team have now worked hard to ensure that doesn't happen as our ER24 medical car makes its way around. So about 3 minutes to go now for race number 2.
That means in about 1.5 minutes, maybe 2 minutes, we're going to have the big whistle to clear the grid, and we will be starting the bikes for the very last time in the 2014 season. This is what the grid looks like. Pole man Clinton Seller, as he has been so many times on the season so far. Garrick Flock, close. And man, oh man, in Super Pole was he close. There was a thousandth of a second between himself and Clinton Seller. Seller almost had to take off that crown of being king of Super Pole. Goody, another front row start for the oh-so-confident rider.
Yeah, amazing stuff there. Kawasaki front row. And that just shows the way that the season has gone for them. They really have dominated and have now wrapped up every single title in the SuperGP Champions Trophy, taking Super M, Super 600, and the SuperGP title. But BMW's lone shark at one stage, and now joined by 2 other riders on BMWs in the SuperGP. Lance Isaacs, we heard from him a few minutes ago that he is good to go and trying to win this final race.
Anthony Shelley is going to be there, one of those great starters, and he's going to be a flyer. Also, Carl Robinson will be missing in action, so he is going to be out of this one. There will be a hole in the grid. Brent Herron is going to be the 3rd of the BMW S1000s, but the 2nd of the Black Swan racing machines. Ivan van der Kerk, he came good in race number 1. Can he do the same again? Ryan van Asviken is there, and Nick van der Walt in 10th place.
Yes, indeed. We did see on the graphic that Anthony Shelley was on a ZX6, but that's in the 600 category. Here he's on this bike, headed down to turn 1 first. The tar pave Shop 74 BMW S1000RR, followed very closely by the 3rd BMW of Brent Herron, the Black Knight.
Shelley got a little bit too hot on the throttle in the early stages, took himself out of the race, but Isaacs just wants to wrap this up clean before he loads up and someone takes the long haul back to Cape Town. Lance ain't going to be driving. He's too rock and roll for that. He'll be on the flight.
He's too rock, well, and roll for that.
Rock, well, and roll, yeah.
Yes, indeed. Rockwell Watch is helping out Sir Lancelot and a couple of other riders, I'm sure, at some point next season. Great to see them involved and new sponsors getting involved right through because of what we're doing here in the SuperGP Champions Trophy and the way things have gone for 2014.
Can't fight against live TV. At the end of the day, it is what everyone is after. It's the big cheese, but we are here for the last bit of racing action. I'm looking at the flags right in front of our commentary booth. We've got a real mediocre back tailwind coming from the start-finish straight. It's really not going to affect anything. It's just enough to keep the cool out there. But it is red hot out on the grid right now. The tarmac is definitely up to temperature, and we should see some good numbers coming back.
Yeah, this is exactly what we expected for the final race of the season. Now that the championship is wrapped up, anybody can take this victory. And when I say anybody, all the way down into about 7th place, where Brent Herron was sitting. Look out for him coming through. Nicholas van der Walt also looking for a better chance there. Ronald Slamet, not a great 2nd place on the grid. He's down in 11th place ahead of Robert Portman. And Dylan White having to start at the back again. We saw how he came through nicely. Hopefully he gets a slightly better start than in the first one, and he'll be a little bit further up than what he did after race number 1. But he also has an outside chance of possibly taking this final victory.
He's going to have to do some early work as well to get the job done. He's our first rider in shot, so do watch out. 16 laps for these guys to make it all count. But oh man, what a season. And pretty much that's what these guys will be thinking about. Certainly a lot of them will have regrets. Most of them will be amazed that they've got to the end of this inaugural SuperGP Champions Trophy season in 2014 and have become household names and superheroes because of what's happening on the tour.
SuperGP heroes. I like that. I'm going to write that down. All right, let's bring them to the line. Kick the tires, light the fires, and the tires, of course, are Pirellis. And these guys are now going to try and fire those tires off the line for the final time in 2014.
Yep, here we go. We are bound to see a breakaway in the early stages, but what we are also bound to see in turns 1, 2, 3, and 4 before they go to that short straight is a lot of bunching up. Watch out for the guys on rows 2 and 3 to get the jumps on, and watch out for Isaacs to throw it all in and try and go out for the last win of the year.
Great start there from the middleman. That is Garrick Flock. He is going to whole shot this down into turn 1, or is Goody going to go inside? No, Good goes into 3rd place. Isaacs goes to 2nd.
Incredible job for Isaac. So he got a good line out. Not a good jump, but he went flying and got the position up the inside. Seller, your champion, is in 3rd. Then it's Brent Herron in 4th. So some big swingers are out front. Was that Dylan White in 5th?
Yes, it is.
Dylan White in 5th, so he's done the unthinkable. And if he's there, he can run with his boys.
Dylan White is in 5th place. Can you believe that start? Brandon Good down to 6th place on his tail. It is Anthony Shelley on the 3rd of the BMWs. Lance runs wide ever so slightly, but Clint can't capitalize. He wasn't quite in the right place, and Lance just hangs on to that 2nd place for now.
Couldn't get that thing turned in, man. It just wasn't turning, and he slowed down everyone. That has given a huge early advantage to Garrick Flock. Look at that. That's half a second.
Certainly is, and this little battle now. Kawasaki 1 and 2 down into turn number 6. Really tight stuff between the 3 bikes there, and Herron is right there as well. Come on, Dill, get up there. If Dylan can get there, so can Brandon Good, and maybe even Shelley on the 3rd BMW. We may have a 6-way battle, and 3 bikes are Kawasaki's, and 3 of them are going to be BMWs. That's the first time this season we've seen that happen.
This is the track that can keep them close. It's got those 2 sectors, Sector 1 and Sector 3 of 4. Those are the ones that keep things nice and tight. No one's able to break away. It's only the huge horsepower 2 straights that separate the groups.
Well, right now the BMW boys are losing a little bit of ground to the 2 Kawasaki's, and the man that's losing the most ground right now, or making the most ground up, is Flock. He got to the front and is now saying, let me get this win in the bag. I have tried all season long. I don't have to worry about spoiling anybody's championship right now. I just want the number 1 step on the podium.
2nd place at the moment is your reigning champion and the man who just nailed down another championship, and that is Clinton Evil Knievel Seller. But he's in 2nd place, he's got clear air, and he really doesn't have anyone on his back wheel right now because there's a change up for 3rd place as Brent Herron comes through, and Isaacs is falling out the back door of this one because Dylan's about to take him as well.
Dylan White is certainly close enough to have a look and maybe put a wheel up the inside of Isaacs. He's got to just close about a half a bike length there, and that can be done under braking very easily on a Kawasaki ZX-10. So let's see if he's able to do exactly what Lance Isaacs' teammate Brent Herron has just done to Sir Lancelot. The Black Knight leads over Lancelot. That's not normally what happens. Somebody get King Arthur on the line. That is not how the round table works.
No ways. And let me point something out to you. A standing lap of 156.1 out of Garrick Flock. That is from a standing start. I would be very happy with that lap from a flyer.
And about the 6th lap of the race would do for me as well. That is an amazing effort. Look at what Alan John Fenter was able to do on the Triumph in the Super M class. He did a 56.4 from a roller. And It's a 56.1 out of that ZX10.
When we say a roller, by the way, we mean crossing the stripe at well over 120 k's an hour.
Exactly that. So that is a phenomenal effort there from Garrick Flock, and if I'm not mistaken, that of course is going to be fastest lap of the race so far.
Watch for the next lap. Watch for the next lap, because give it this lap or the lap after, but I'm throwing it all on this lap. We will see a new hot lap, certainly in this race, coming out of Clinton Seller, and I just saw the blur go through. This is third place, the three-way split. This is about to be a four-way when Brandon Good joins the party, but Clinton Seller has closed up on Garrick Flock to the tune of 0.3 of a second.
It was a 53.9. That is the fastest lap of the weekend so far. So he's got about 3 seconds to find. And Isaac's on the inside, comes back at Heron.
Slow pass though, just blocked everyone up there. And look how quickly Brandon Good joined the party. Isaacs is not going to get a good run down here. Heron may be able to go for the fight back, but the guys that benefited there as the hot lap comes out of Seller, 53 flat.
That is incredible riding out of Clinton Seller. So our newly crowned champion also wants to go out on a swan song like his teammate in the 600cc's did, with a double victory on the day. Can he do it here? Oh, this is just turning into something pretty amazing considering what we've wrapped everything up so far.
It is, and this third place battle, as you see the back end of the currently leading BMW Black Swan racing bike of Isaacs. He holds third at the moment, but he does not look comfortable. He is slowing the pace, and everyone else is joining the party. And I mean everyone. They are going to be queuing up behind him pretty soon.
Well, Dylan White did a 56.3 on the last lap. Lance was only able to do a 56.4. Seller has closed on Flock. There you can see it in shot, and yes, 53.071 there coming out of Clint Seller. What a I don't know what to say anymore about this guy.
Yeah.
We've used every expletive you can to explain how good this guy is, and he really has been the find of the season. Congratulations to the team, and now trying to just finish it all up in high-flying style.
Yeah, and he's going to want, we're not going to throw any chances out here. The championship is done. He, if he wants to make the pass, will make the pass, and we'll try and run and hide. But he could make a pass now, he could make a pass later on. He doesn't have to conserve energy. These are sprint races. Even for Clinton Seller, as long as these races are, it's a sprint race. He's looking over his shoulder. There's no one there because Lance Isaacs is doing the unthinkable and holding off the might of the best of the rest. But he's got to surely be living on borrowed time.
He's certainly living on borrowed time because Heron is closing, so is the gambler, Dylan White and Brandon Good. Two Kawasaki's what are sitting, what is that, 5th and 6th place on track, closing in on the two Black Swan Energy BMWs. No team orders in amongst any of those riders, so every man for himself on track right now. That's what we like to see at the end of the season.
Garrick Flock's best lap is a full half second slower than Clinton Seller. It's a matter of time before that pass is done, and it's a matter of time before there's a change up. I really don't think Sir Lancelot can hold these boys off, not with the class and talent that is queued up behind him right now. They know that he can be beat, and they're going to go all out to try and beat him. Third place, it's going to be short-lived.
I think Isaacs is probably just living on borrowed time there with Heron, Dylan White and Brandon Good closing in on him slowly but surely, and even more intensity now as they go through turn 5. Big left-hander, triple apex corner onto that straight, the little short straight. Watch for Heron to try and get the slip out of his teammate. Lance Isaacs with probably in a weight advantage over the kid there in on the 7.7 bike, the Black Knight. But in terms of the ability of the bikes, very evenly matched machinery.
You can see that Isaacs just cannot get that thing turned exactly how he wants to. He often says he goes the wrong way with the settings come heat number 2. But how do you know? I mean, the bike went down. Something is going to feel a little bit funky in those first couple of laps, and he's trying to ride around it. That's all it is. There may be nothing wrong with it. He's just shaken because it's a different bike. It's been down the road, and in his mind, something's wrong.
He was thinking to himself, well, we've given it a very good effort to try and take the championship. Didn't quite work out. The team have put in an awesome effort too. And hats off to John Carter and the entire team. They're doing a magic job on the bike. The front end, the two cars having a go, but they're side by side. Brent Heron is certainly well within a chance of getting into that third place, but he's hanging tight for now.
I think he's being a little bit nice.
Longer.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Dylan needs to come through. Dylan's done all that work in that first lap, but he needs to go through because there's a small gap coming here. Lance is figuring this bike out, and if Dylan doesn't come through and try and throw a wheel up up the inside, he's going to be living on a little bit longer than we were predicting. I thought Lance was going to get beat up, but come lap 3 here, he's actually finding good form.
Hopefully he'll get the form that he requires, because we touted him for a race win here. He has gone really well in the past. We've seen a victory out of him so far. It's been 4 winners of the season. If Garrick Flock can take a win here, it'll be 5 out of the season, out of this entire field. But right now, it doesn't look like that's going to be happening, because even though he leads the race, Sella is very comfortable behind him and probably could overtake at any point. But the battle here for 3rd place is really starting to hot up, because I think it's now time for Dylan White to up that pace and turn the wick up.
He's going to have to get it done. We'll concentrate on the leaders for a little bit. You can see Garrick Flock, shades of race number 1, and he knows he is simply being stalked like a gazelle on the plains. He knows his time, and I really think he's going to get owned. Maybe about lap 5 to go, something like that.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
That's when we saw all the games start to come up in heat number 1. That's where I've thrown that number.
Nicholas van der Walt goes down on the brother MTech R1 Yamaha. It's a big pity for the Cape Town boy, but he is back up and riding, so a little mistake out of him. That'll drop him right to the back of the field behind Ronald Slammert, who was at that stage the 12th rider on track. So van der Walt out of 9th place down to 12th after a mistake there on his brother MTech Racing Yamaha R1.
Another long look over the shoulder for Clinton Seller just to see where everyone is. And he backs out of the move once again. He is simply showing well. Look at the background though. Isaacs has got rid of all the other guys. We sold him a complete dummy. We sold ourselves a dummy there. He seems to have recovered, rebounded, and got away from the boys. So Isaacs, I'll keep an eye on his lap times, is building. Last time his fastest was a 1:55. He is coming on. He's finding tenths every now and again.
His last lap time was a 55.222. He's now gone 54.954. So he gets better and better every single time, which is why he's pulling away from Dylan White, who's now up to 4th place ahead of Brent Herron.
Okay, so now we're going to see if the gambler can actually throw it all down there and try and climb onto the last step of the podium at the last race of the year. He deserves it. I mean, he's been running good pace in the second half of the season, and he's had a lot of bad luck.
I just picked up in the background, though, Herron came back at him and managed to squeeze him out again. So Brent Herron and Dylan White fighting there. 23 and 77.
Slowing the pace and letting Isaacs get away with it. That's you don't want to do that. It's going to be so hard to bridge that gap. 1 and 2, they get gone. But you cannot let anyone break away in the 3 spot.
It's going to be a tough one to try and catch Lance Isaacs if he does get that little bit of a margin over you, because he will want to be on the final podium for the year, just to have a little bit of say to TV Land, to thank all his sponsors, and that's exactly what Lance is fighting for here.
Are you amazed watching these lines of Sella, especially when you compare them as we can in these shots, how much tighter Sella is able to run? You see Garrick Flock going maybe 3 or 4 inches wider, trying to go for the cutbacks, and Sella can run the exact same speed with more lean angle and hold a tighter line.
Just the setup on the bike there, and of course remember, it's Steve Cannon that's working on this leading Kawasaki, so he's trying to get it to work well. It's eventually starting to pay off here for Garrick Flock and Mark Flock, his dad. They do all the development on the bike, they all do the work on the bike, along with the assistance of Steve Cannon. But when you look at the might of Portable Shade Kawasaki and every one of the top techs that are involved in that team, it's a bit of a tough one to fight against.
And just the support structure. You know, when you've got to drive yourself to a race rather than flying in rock and roll style, there's a difference. There's a complete different outlook when you face a weekend. Oh, I've got to sit in the car for 12 hours. Or you've got to sit in a plane for 2. You pick.
Yeah, I'll go with the plane for 2 every time. No, but also just to bring that fact into play as well, Matt. When you look at Garrick Flock, the way that things have gone in this country, a lot of riders start out the way that Garrick has gone. And when they show the prowess of getting to where he's got on his own, all of a sudden the big teams start to look around. We're starting to speak about big teams getting involved. We've got BMW and Kawasaki involved in this championship. You mentioned in the first race possibility of a Honda. Remember the big R1s, the new R1s are coming next year. And I wonder if maybe even MTech might be having a little squiz there at the talent that comes out of Garrick Flock more than anything else.
I think that would be someone to definitely look out for. If I was a team owner and I had a package like almost a factory supported Kawasaki ZX-10R, all the new R1, all the new S1000 RR coming out of BMW. You've got to go shopping with these top guys. And Garrick Flock, for me, I don't even think he's a gamble. I don't think he's a risk. He's cleaned his act up a ton, and he's a race winner.
Yeah, he might look like, as we call him, the wild child on circuit, but even with the wild antics that he has while riding that motorcycle, he certainly has the ability to run at the front, and that is why he is exactly where he is right now, fighting with the newly crowned champion.
Okay, we've been looking at the battle from first through to 6th place, which is from Garrick Flock all the way down to Brandon Good. Anthony Shelley, though, has fallen off the back wheel there. He's in 7th place. He's stuck there with Ivan van Niekerk, Ryan van Arsbeek, and Ronnie Slamet. And Robert Portman is in no man's land at the moment, unable to get down under a 158 today.
There is the gap. As we can see, Isaac's not able to bridge it. And Flock hangs on only just to keep out Sella. But I think, as you said, Sella is just toying a little bit there. Isaac's just behind him. He is closing ever so slightly, though. It was 3.9 on the last run. Let's have a look and see if there's any difference coming through after this one.
No one's going to be catching that back wheel of Isaacs. I'm telling you right now.
3.7.
With 9 laps to go, Isaacs is safe and clear, barring any mechanicals or a crash. He's safe and clear in 3rd place. You are going to be able to speak to him on the last step of the podium.
And then, of course, it's the battle between Harron, White, and Good. And Good, I'm sure, would love to beat out both of those two after having to take evasive action on 3 occasions in race number 1. Still managed to keep it upright. And he's right there in the background. You can just see it's Brent Harron, Dylan White, and Brandon Good extremely close.
Let's talk about the development of Garrick Flock and the development of the bike as well. Because when I got onto this tour at round, I think it was round 3, that bike was a bucking bronco. It was wild, it was loose, and he was literally wrestling the thing around. Good to watch, great entertainment, but it wasn't equating into good times. As soon as he got the bike dialed in, there was an instant jump up the grid.
And it was a visual one, that's for sure, for most of the fans of the Wild Child, and they were pretty impressed with his ability. But he is a strong lad, and he's a big guy. So the ZX-10 is literally made for him, because he muscles it like a 600 for most other riders.
Yeah, it does look like he's racing a pocket bike, in fact. He climbs all over that thing. He can put the chin over the front and keep the power down. So truly taming the beast that is the Kawasaki ZX-10R, turns all the traction control off. In fact, most of these guys do, but Garrick is the one that in the early part of the season had it all switched off. But I don't know what he had in his shocks, but I don't think there was a lot going on in there. Maybe marshmallows and gummy bears, but he needed a slightly thicker weight oil, maybe. Maybe Rolos. Rolos, yeah.
You'll keep him for the last one.
Yeah,
Here we go.
Melted Rolos.
Isaacs, but here's the 4-5-6 battle. And it is Dylan White putting the pressure onto his good mate, Brent Harron. Brandon Good is there too, and any one of these 3 could take 4th place here today.
Good has just not been able to turn his day around. Good numbers the whole way through practice, brilliant numbers in qualifying, even better numbers coming out of Superpole, and all went wrong on that first lap. As soon as Isaacs tagged his back wheel, things just started to go sideways, literally and actually.
Well, this is where Dylan White is starting to turn the heat up ever so slightly. Harron's soaking it up pretty well, but he cannot afford to move an inch offline because Dylan will pounce.
This should have been the battle. It should have been a 4-way split for 3rd place, but we should have seen this come down to the wire. Lance is going to get away with 3rd place, and it's all because no one has been able to get around Harron in this last race.
A little bit of understeer going in there, because that front wheel was pushing hard into turn 4. And that's a concern for me on Brent Harron's bike. It didn't turn as well as what it has been all day long.
You can see the problems that Isaacs had in the early stages, and maybe it's a setup that the guys went for. Isaac said, I will sacrifice a slow or a hard turn in the early stages as long as the bike has good race pace. He's a clever lad, old Isaacs, you know, he can be.
He's had a huge amount of experience on 2-wheeled machines right through his career. Not only here in South Africa, but internationally too. He was part of World Superbikes and partnered up, of course, with Ben Bostrom on the NCR Ducatis for 2 seasons. So he is certainly using what he's got in experience and trying to take his first South African title. But it's not going to be this season. Maybe 2015 could be the year of Sir Lancelot.
Of all these years in racing, and he still hasn't nailed down a full national championship. And you've got to think, not just because of his age, but purely because of the talent that is queuing up behind him, it's going to be a very big ask. There are arguably 5, maybe 6 guys on the grid right now, and we may even see more guys stepping up from the 600s for next year, and that's something we will talk about next year. We're hearing a lot of rumors and a lot of fun stuff to talk about, but we can't talk about it just yet because there's still contracts to fulfill. But next year, arguably 6 guys up for this championship in the big wheel class.
Yeah, I'll be looking forward to that, and of course with the changes in the rules and races and machinery, this is Van der Walt, I think, on the left-hand side there underneath our graphic, and just being passed by the leaders, so he's now unlapped, and I'm sure he'll probably just be pulling in, don't want to do any more damage to that big R1 of his. Lance Isaacs, though, has closed dramatically, Matt. We had a gap of 3.5 seconds to 3.9. It's come down to 2.7 seconds. So that's almost a second in that last lap to close in on Sella and on Flock.
So with what we know about racecraft and the team that are running Clinton Sella, 7 laps remaining, that means the board will be coming out saying, okay, it's time. You got to go because Lance is coming.
If Lance is coming, Brent Herron's coming, and the Gambler's coming. And with 7 laps to go, there's enough time for all of 6 of these motorcycles to get up to the top 3 and make it a 6-way battle for the final couple of laps. That would be pretty awesome to see.
Yeah, I'd love to see that. It's incredible that we'd almost written Lance off in the early part of this race. It looked like he was going to get stuck with these guys, but he was able to bridge the gap, refocus, drop the hammer hard for 2 laps, and pull that away. And he's carried on that momentum. His lap times are not as good as the top 2 guys, but incredibly enough, he is still closing the gap. I'm blown away because I'm looking at the maths and the maths doesn't work out, but on screen we are seeing Isaac's bridging this gap.
Oh, look at the lap times. It's 55.7s coming out of Flock and Sella. It's 54.8s, a 1.1 second quicker than the 2 riders in front. So Sella, I think, will probably get the hurry-up board on this lap.
It's going to happen this lap, and then we'll see him pull the pin. You know, Sella is not one to want to sit down in the 54s. He was able to almost get into the 52s while closing up onto the back wheel of current race leader, and the guys led the race the whole way through. Garrick Flock. Sella hasn't showed a wheel as yet, but because he hasn't showed a wheel and increased the pace out front, that has allowed Lance Isaacs to be the fastest man on circuit since that hot lap.
Let's wait and see if he's able to do any more damage to the front 2 here, because he really is pushing hard. As they come through turn 2, up into 3, flicks it over on the left-hand side. Flock is keeping Sella at bay, but Sella, I think, would have got a hurry-up board from Portable Shot. And in fact, he looked over there. He looked over, and that's one point that you can look over to see where the other riders are. He could not see Lance, which means Lance is almost on his back wheel.
Yeah, Lance is in the same sector. The gap that time around, what are we talking about? Under 2 seconds. So Lance is coming, and it's now time to pull the pin. Watch for Sella to try and get the move done down the bottom of the short straight into the dog's balls. He's positioning himself, and he is staying in it this time around. But Flock is so good on the brakes there, and Flock is locked into this 54 bracket. In fact, last time around a 155. So he is not able to run any faster than this. It's still a constant 2 seconds off the back wheel. Lance Isaacs, I don't think he's going to be able to bridge the gap any more than it is already.
So top of the dog bone right now, going down into the bottom section of the 3rd sector of Redstar Raceway, and Flock and Sella slowing each other up enough for Lance Isaacs to have a sniff there and maybe even spoil the day for the 2 Kawasaki riders. That would be a nice way to end off the season from BMW's point of view, to take the final bit of victory of 2014. That's exactly what Lance is pushing hard for.
Do remember the comments that Isaacs has made the whole way through the season, and especially on a circuit like this, they have to come to the fore. At the halfway mark of this race, the brakes get cooked on the BMW. And how hard do you have to brake on this circuit? Proper hard. We've got a new leader at the top of the hill, though. Yeah, and now we're going to see a big lap, because these guys have been locked into the 54s, 55s. We have seen not a fluky, but one off 53. And now across the stripe with 6 laps to go, the teams start going nuts, because Sella has held back long enough. He's going to pull the pin now.
So 2.5 seconds on that crossing. So let's see if Isaacs can now match the pace as Sella's hit the front. He'll see that Sella's got ahead of Garrick Flock, because you can see the gap already starting to open up ever so slightly between Sella and
Amazing
Flock.
how that happens. Amazing. As soon as the pass is made, you put 2 bike lengths into the guy. That's it. That is the beginning of the rot.
We're going to see a charge there from Isaacs to maybe catch Flock. If he gets up there, he's not going to hold back like Sella was doing on Flock. He's going to go straight into 2nd place. And that's what we're seeing right now. 2.5 second gap was the last time they crossed. They've got 4.5 laps to go. There is enough time here for Lance Isaacs to catch Garrick Flock and maybe get onto the 2nd step.
There was 0.137 between Sella and Flock. You can see that has already grown to almost 0.3. Flock a little bit loose on the brakes at the bottom there, trying to make it all up on the brakes. You can't. When you're going up against the champion of Clinton Sella, Evel Knievel, he doesn't make mistakes on the lap, and especially in this zone where he knows he has to pull a gap, he does it. He's able to click that switch and pull the pin and just run away. By the end of this lap, we're going to be looking at a gap of a second clean.
Easily peasily, but let's have a look and see whether that is going to be the case between Flock and Isaacs, because Isaacs is putting in everything he's got for the last 4 laps and 1 back straight.
I think that gap's growing. To be honest, I think we're seeing Flock falling off the back, but I think we're going to see an even bigger gap coming off the back wheel of Flock between himself and Isaacs. Last time around, between Flock and Isaacs, like you said, 2.5. We'll see that across the stripe. By my eye, Greg, it's bigger than that.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, man. I think Isaacs made a slight mistake through the dog bone section.
I think he's just done. The brakes are done, the tyres are done.
Yeah, he might have just be hanging there saying, you know what, let's just take third place, get on the podium and have a final
Okay,
say.
1.4 seconds in one lap. That's what you can do when you're Clinton Seller. Oh, 3.5 seconds off the back wheel of Flock. It's over. It's all done, bar the shouting. First, second, and third is how it is on the screen right now. And you can see that Isaacs, his bike, his tyres, his body, everything is cooked.
Body language has changed up dramatically there on Lance Isaacs. But he can't give up too much because 55 4s and 55 7s coming out of Dylan White and Brandon Good could give them a chance of sneaking up onto the back of him and spoiling his day.
How demotivating for a rider with so much heart and so much skill, like we see coming out of Lance Isaacs, to bury yourself for 10 laps and see nothing for it.
Brent Herron moving up ahead of Dylan White ahead of Brent Herron there as the change of the lap happened. So it says on our timing monitor that Herron actually leads Dylan White. That has changed up as Dylan White goes. Look at Brandon Good though. Whoa! Oh, and late braking from Herron.
Oh,
wow!
I thought he was going to tag the back wheel of White.
It looked like he was going to go up the back end of White.
He got wild there. He certainly did. And Herron, that just shows you his tyres and his brakes are done. That bike is wagging its tail everywhere.
Yeah, he's having to go onto the back brake, which is not what these riders tend to do. They try to use the front brakes as much as possible, but when you run out of front brakes, the only option you've got is to tap that right foot down.
Tap the right foot, start banging maybe another gear, especially at the bottom there. I drop it down into second, and as soon as you click second, the back end flies all over the place, no matter what you're on.
That's, I think, exactly what happened there with Brent Herron. He saw Brandon Good having a big look up the inside and just went defensive and went very late on whatever brakes he's got left.
Whatever brakes he's got left. Exactly that. This is going to be the three-way split, but I think that Dylan White will be able to stretch things away. He's one of those riders that comes strong at the end. He doesn't cook his brakes too bad. Herron goes for the big fight back. He just about puts the thing on the nose. There was absolutely nothing in that. There was a whipper between those two bikes, and Brent did very well not to take out Whitey. We couldn't have said that a couple of rounds ago.
Yeah, a wafer thin mint there between the two. Very, very close indeed. But
3 laps to go.
3 laps to go. 3 riders still fighting hard. They haven't given up and not given an inch here. White did get to the front of this battle. It took him a while to get there, but now that he's there, he's trying to keep off the attack from the Black Knight, who goes on his inside and gets back at him.
These guys are, I think I could walk past them at the moment. They've really slowed the pace down, and it doesn't matter because there's no one on their back wheel. These guys can go for it. It's not for a podium, but it is for good overall positioning come the end of the season. Seller, by the way, we'll be talking about him when we see him pretty soon because we will be wrapping up these laps. But Seller's, his best lap when he caught up to the back end of Garrick Flock was a 1:53.071. His hot lap, as soon as he got clear air, was a 1:53.4. So no problems on that bike at all. In fact, you can probably go and run those tires for another 1,000 Ks.
One thing we haven't spoken about all race long, and I've just had a look at it in terms of championship positions. Remember that both Brandon Good and Brent Herron are fighting for honours for 3rd and 4th place. Brandon had a lot to make up here on Brent Herron, and with Herron staying where he is right now and having a better race than Brandon Good had in the first one, that 3rd place should go to the BMW team, and that'll be 2 and 3 for them in terms of championship overall. So even though we got a little fight out here for the second riders in both those teams, and of course a lone rider in his CJ Auto and Network Blue colours, it is all been worthwhile in terms of the final ditch effort to maybe squeeze Herron out. But due to all the evasive action he had to take in race 1, Brandon Good will have to settle for 4th place this year.
Check him take his hand off the bar there. These guys are feeling the fatigue. Herron, just before he actually tagged the clutch as he started gearing down, took his hand off just for a second. They are feeling the fatigue. These races are mammoth. They are huge. So long to be on the cable that hard.
And riders are starting to feel it, but of course this is the way they want to step things up on the Super GP. 6 seconds in 4 laps from Kinsella. That's the gap he's opened over Garrick Flock. When he saw Isaacs coming, he said, "You're not even going to get a sniff, buddy."
Since he hit clear air, just to give you an idea, I talk numbers a lot, a 1:53.07 to catch up to the back wheel of Flock. He sat there for more than half the race. As soon as he got in front of him, He has not dropped out of the 53 bracket. Garrick Flock, on the other hand, has only come down to a 154.5 and has been locked into the 55 bracket. So he's losing. He's losing almost 2 seconds a lap.
Yeah, it just shows the dominance of Sella this year. He has the ability to just turn that wick up whenever he wants to and pull away from whoever.
I literally am blown away. You know, at the end of a long, hard season and on a track that is more testing than most. For a rider, for the tires, for the brakes, and for the engine, you're asking a lot of everything. And to be out there for near on 30 minutes at maximum pace, what Clinton Sella is doing, and Lance Isaacs at the same time, is gargantuan.
Now, let's see what's going to happen here between these three. I'm not really worried at this stage about what's happening between the top three, because they are now basically split until the checkered flag. These guys, though, are not done just yet, because Dylan White certainly wants to make it fourth place for his team.
Look at that gap, almost the entire back straight. That is 6 seconds, and next time he comes across the stripe, he might as well put it on the back wheel and start celebrating once again and show off to the crowd, because one more lap is to go, and this is just a glory run. It was 6 seconds last time out. I think you and I know that we are heading close to an 8, possibly 9 second gap before Flock crosses the strip. 7.1.
7.1.
It will be 9 by the end.
Yeah, a good possibility of 9 seconds, but I'm going to stop you in terms of the celebrations, because remember the last time he celebrated, got it all wrong. So let's wait till he's finished the race.
I'm always worried actually when they do their stand-up wheelies. Although that Redstar Raceway and now the branded Monster Bridge for this round, it does look low, but it's intimidating. I'm scared of that thing when I'm sat on the bike.
Yes, indeed.
No, I don't want to stand
if
up.
there are going to be any burnouts, it's going to be right underneath that Redstar Bridge once the riders come through, but that's highly unlikely because they'll probably pull into pit lane before that. But our leader, and of course your newly crowned SuperGP champion, he's gone 3 for 3. It's a 600 title under his belt, straight into a 1000cc Superbike title, and now into the SuperGP, which is an Evo version of the Superbike Championship. 3 in a row. Great effort from Clint Sella.
And we are officially on our last lap of the racing season of 2014. Feels weird, man. It's been a journey.
Certainly has, and of course as we go through this, a big thanks to all of our sponsors. Monster, our naming rights sponsor for the season. A great effort from them to come on board and get this inaugural championship up and running. Boding well for 2015, and hopefully they're going to be sticking around for a long, long time with us. But of course Pirelli, our official tires for this year, Discover Digital, Vox Telecom, all the manufacturers that have been involved with us here this season, NGL Logistics, Diamond Trailers, Sim Scooters, everybody behind, the gas team that have put in an effort here, all of our TV crew, and this is what it boils down to. The final 2 corners for your champion. We're going to wrap this up with a double victory on the day here for Evel Knievel, the newly crowned SuperGP champion.
What a way to do it. Honestly, the party is going to be going on and on and on, all the way to Bolito #1, the standard option, which is becoming the oh so cool celebration for Clinton Sella. Takes the bow, takes the applause, and underlines his statement, I am the best superbike racer in South Africa.
No doubt about that one. Congratulations to the Portable Shade Kawasaki factory team here this year. They have been dominant. They have taken every single title in the Super GP and Super 600s. Remember, it's another Kawasaki that won the Super M's too. So well done to KMSA for that honor. Garrick Flock has tried hard, was found wanting to the tune of 7.5 seconds at the end. And Lance Isaacs will get a little bit of respite there as he gets onto the final podium on his Black Swan Energy BMW.
So Clinton Sella, all the boys are celebrating, even though Lance Isaacs didn't do what he wanted to do at the last race. Still happy to get the job done at the end of the season. We're going to be catching up with the celebrations on the podium and last reactions before we round out the season. Myself and Greg Maloney will be taking you out, and of course we'll be with you once again for the 2015 season, when we hope to continue all the racing action, as well as adding the Junior, Super Junior Trophy category to this incredible tour that has been going on the whole way through the year. Monster Energy Super GP Champions Trophy in its inaugural year crowns Clinton Sella its 1000cc champion, Stephen Odendahl Super 600 champion, and Carl Robinson the Super M champion. And we will be doing a new championship for next year for the junior category, where we will get a brand new name at the top of the pile, no matter what. We'll be going around all the circuits in the country, all of the national tour, and we will be ticking off no doubt new lap records based on the equipment and the riding quality that is coming out of South Africa, but certainly new technology coming into the fore. Here's the provisional results from the final heat of the day's racing action in the SuperGP Championship. Race 2, Clinton Seller taking the win, eventually rolling out late in the race, but still taking the win by 7.2 seconds. Seller on the portable shade race Kawasaki ZX-10R, Garrick Flock on a privateer Kawasaki ZX-10R, Lance Isaacs a solid third place to end off his season. He gets onto the podium at the last gasp on the Black Swan Racing BMW S1000RR. Dylan White, he looked rock and roll in the early stages, but could not get through the brick wall that was Brent Herron until the very last lap. He gets fourth place on the Kawasaki ZX-10R, riding out a portable shade race Kawasaki. Brent Herron, he gets fifth on the second of the BMW S1000RRs out of Black Swan Racing. Brandon Good, the privateer, he gets the sixth place, and then ahead of Cape Town's Ronnie Slammert, Ivan Van Kirk, Ryan van Asbeken, and Rob Portman, first of the Yamaha R1s in 10th place, ahead of his teammate Nick van der Walt, who had to roll out with problems after a crash, and Anthony Shelley only completing 7 of the laps. So it's all celebrations now before we get the last reactions of the 2014 season and clear the circuits for the last time heading into the Christmas break. Your champion, Clinton Evil Knievel Seller, underlining the fact that he is the best. Everyone else has got to beat him. Garrick Flock could be that man to throw down the gauntlet in the early stages. He's certainly arriving in 2015 as a main threat, not just for race wins, but for championships. Also, Lance Isaacs will want and know that he can't keep racing superbikes forever and will need to nail down a championship. It's got to happen next year, or it may not happen at all.
Down at podium. Are we here? Okay, cool. Yes, Matt, down here at the podium, it's celebrations and jubilations for lots. It's great to see Sir Lancelot getting onto the final podium. He had to work hard for that one, but definitely got it all sorted out. So our final podium ceremony of the season, and of course we're also going to be handing out the first time ever the big Super GP Champions Trophy to our Super GP champion. Evil Knievel just going to put his shirt on. We're going to give these guys a few minutes just to get a little bit more high fives in the bag, and then we're going to bring them up onto the podium for the final time in 2014. Third place today. He's had a really tough day in the saddle, but came back nicely to get back onto the final podium. For Black Swan Energy, it's Sir Lancelot himself, Lance Isaacs, in third. In second place, riding his heart out today, and certainly looking forward to 2015, where I think he's definitely going to be a threat to some of the top riders in this country. For Preempt Fire and Security, 4Ways Motorcycles Kawasaki, let's hear it for the wild child, Garrick Flock. And up on top of the podium yet again this season with a double victory, sealing the deal in terms of this championship for Portable Shade Race, Craig Zank and Associates Kawasaki team. And that makes it Kawasaki's victories in all 3 categories of the Super GP Champions Trophy. Evil Knievel himself, Clint Seller. I'm not quite sure if Anthony's here, but Anthony Shelley, if he is around, will be making his way up here for the rookie for the day. We'll wait for him to get up there. But while we are waiting, let's hand out some of the trophies. Third place from Mr. Anthony Lauter from Gas Sports to Lance Isaacs. Second place, Mr. Wayne Riddell from Motorsport South Africa to Garrick Flock. And we have managed to find him. He gets up on top there. Go and join them as well, Anthony. Ladies and gents, your rookie of the day, Anthony Shelley, jumping up on top. Let's get that rookie trophy to him by Mr. Stephen Watson. Well done, Ant. First time out in the 1000cc class, and certainly going to be a threat also in this class next year. Well done to Anthony Shelley. He is on the tar pave, and a great effort there from Shop 74's BMW team. Now we get manufacturer representative. If I can ask Brad and Assis to jump up on top there for us, please, for the manufacturers. And Stephen Watson will hand that trophy to him as well. Thank you, Steve. You're doing a lot of work today, buddy. So Brad will join one of our lovely monster ladies there. Thanks, Brad. Congratulations to the manufacturer's representative there for Kawasaki South Africa. And handing out first place from Monster Energy, Mr. Sebastian Clay, to Clint Seller. And for the first time in South African history, the SuperGP Champions Trophy. This is the Champions Trophy. This is the one they've all been fighting for. And it's going to be handed out by both Anthony Lata and Stephen Watson from Gas Sports. After an amazing year, it's Clint Seller, your champion. Ladies and gentlemen, celebration time! There you go. There's two waiting. Not me! Not me! Not me! Okay, have me. Why not? It's all good. Yes, indeed. It had to come at some stage, I suppose. Great job, guys. Great job. Yummy, yummy, yummy. All right, that's going to hurt. Lance I6. We're going to catch up with Lance first, but sure, just use my shirt. It's all good. Yeah, it's not weird at all. It's not going to help you at all. Anyway, it's been a tough season. Lance, we spoke to you on the grid. You said you're going to have fun out there. You certainly look like you did. It wasn't easy at first, but it's good to be on the final podium for 2014 after a tough season.
Yeah, it's been good and bad. We started off the season 30 seconds behind the Kawasaki boys at the start. And then, in the middle of the season, we actually came good. This circuit, the last time, in the opposite direction, suited our bike. It seems like this time around, it suited the Kawasaki's a little bit more. But you know what? Hats off to my team. I really want to apologize to my team for not doing the deal. But you know what? We're a junior team for this championship. Next year we'll be coming on strong. Well done to Brad, Clint, and the rest of his team. You boys are going to have to reckon with Black Swan Racing next year.
Dude, there's no doubt about that. The Black Swan team and your entire effort that's been put in here, not only doing you well here in South Africa, but of course you've just come back from some international accolades too, with that BMW trophy that ran country and worldwide. So it just bodes well for the BMW brand. There is a new S1000RR next year, and I think that might be a little bit more competitive.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a lot more competitive. I've had some sneak peeks at the bike, and I've been chatting to some of the international riders that have won championships overseas and who have tested the bike. We've actually been invited to go test with them in February, so I'm looking forward to that. I've already got my bike stashed away somewhere, but we'll keep that under wraps for now, and we will wait for all the information to come from the international boys.
Brilliant stuff. Congratulations. All the very best. We'll catch you soon. Let's go and catch up with second place, Garrick Flock. Wild Child, another amazing effort out there, buddy, but yet again, just found wanting by a couple of seconds, a little bit more than in the first one, but, it's just getting better and better every time you get on a motorcycle.
Yeah, I tried to keep the lead and stay ahead of Seller for as long as I could, and eventually he came past, and I tried to sit with him, couldn't sit with him, and yeah.
But it does look good for 2015. And, of course, we were talking about it in the commentary booth. If there are any manufacturers out there looking for riders that have got the caliber to run at the front, you certainly are one of them. I know that your team has put in a massive effort. You've got a lot of sponsors on board. They'll probably stick with you as personal sponsors. But if a factory ride arrives, there's no doubt about it that you've earned that and certainly deserve it.
No, that would be great.
Looking forward to 2015?
Yes.
Well, let's see more from the Wild Child a little bit later on in 2015. Finally, let's get across to Evel Knievel himself. Dude, I don't even know what to say anymore because I've used every single thing that is in my vocabulary. I'm completely speechless right now because I didn't expect you to come through and do a double on the day just like your teammate did to seal the deal.
Yeah, it's the bike was great all weekend, so I have to give a big shout out to my team. Portable Shade, Craig Zank, Alfie, Swanepoel, Martin Pretzel. My whole team builds a weapon for me, and I'm fortunate enough I could actually just sit back in second place and just enjoy riding my motorbike for a bit. And then I saw Lance close up on us a bunch, and I kind of kept in my eye, and I had a mental place where when he got to me I was going to put my head down and push, and I managed to do that. I think a bunch of really quick lap times in a row, and managed to cruise home for the end.
The nice thing with Redstar Raceway with the turnbacks is that you can spot the rider. And we were watching that all the time. Every time we went into 2 or 3, you looked across and went, he's there. It's time to turn the work up, time to drop the hammer.
That's exactly it. You know, I was looking over to see what was going on, and you know, it's a long racetrack here. You can't dispense of too much energy, so I just waited. I waited for the 5 laps to go, and then I just put my head down and had a bit of fun there.
You certainly had a great fun and a great season. Turn around because you're about to go and enjoy the spoils of the season there with Stephen, Brad, and Dad. Enjoy.
We're going to pour it over him. No backwash, eh? We'll be lucky if we...
Ladies and gentlemen, a final round of applause for your Super GP champion, Clint Stella. Ladies and gents, there's your champions for 2014 in the Super M category. Kyle Robertson out of the Uncle Andy's Fantech Kawasaki team. Sitting down at the bottom there, and certainly doesn't deserve to be sitting down because he worked hard today in the Super 600. Your champion is Stephen Udendal. Yes, and while he's down there, he's going to ask for Clint Stella. Your Super GP champion, Clint Stella. That brings us to the end of the 2014 season for the Monster Energy Super GP Champions Trophy. What an amazing season of racing we've had so far. We've seen 3 new champions crowned. We've seen one manufacturer dominate all 3 championships, and we're looking forward to 2015.
Like I've said on the mic the whole way through the year, it's been an absolute cracker and a pleasure to watch these guys have to overcome all these technical obstacles. They've all been matched the whole way through. We've seen a lot of new winners on the season and a lot of talent that's going to be coming forward into the 2015 season. For me, it's just been an outstanding year of talent, a lot of drama, and it's going to be a good thing to watch out for going forward because the future is the kids, and Googs, the kids are coming next year.
No, certainly the kids are coming through, and we're looking forward to a fantastic 2015 season. You know, a lot of learnings have been going throughout this year, and I think we've also, you know, kind of stepped up the game in terms of superbike racing in this country, and I think it bodes well for the future going forward. And I mean, Greg, Matt, you guys have been phenomenal, and it's good to be able to learn from you guys.
It's amazing to see this championship come to a conclusion here at Redstar Raceway. A big thanks to all of our sponsors and co-sponsors for coming on board with us. Make sure you stay tuned over the Christmas and festive season to see what's going to be happening in 2015, and we'll see you at round number 1 on the 22nd of March in 2015.